Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Mohamad Aziz, the professor at the Faculty of Tourism and Hotels. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, Doctor.
Thank you for you, and thank you for the whole team member of the program. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Of course, today we are witnessing and focusing more on tourism in Egypt, and more specifically the winter tourism in the country. How do you see the current affairs of this important sector for the country?
As a matter of fact, we can consider that winter season usually in Egypt is crowded, is one of the seasons that is full with the flow of tourists from all over the world.
Yes.
And especially in the Upper Egypt. I mean here the classical tourism or the cultural tourism, which is taking place in Luxor and Aswan especially. But on the other hand, we can see that also in other coastal cities, just like Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, Dahab and Nuweiba, there is a full of tourists during the winter season as well.
On the other hand, how do you see the main challenges that are facing the tourism sector in the country, and how to be evading them to be getting more numbers of tourists?
In my opinion, we are running well. We are planning a good plan, and especially during the last 2 years.
Yes.
We are expecting, we did have more tourists than we do expect during the last and current year.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I see that it will be a very good opportunity if we can apply what we can call the regional tourism.
Yes.
I mean here, whenever someone will come to visit Luxor or Aswan, and in this case we used to call it that this type of tourist, we used to call it a classic tourist or a culture tourist. Why not that we can tailor up another programs, and so that we can get these people from this area to go to visit Alexandria and to visit Cairo and to visit the other touristic cities.
Yes.
And especially those cities that is for them during the winter will be amazing for them to enjoy swimming the sea or in the swimming pool of the many hotels which is taking place in this area. And the same goes with people who are going to the coastal areas. I mean here people will go to Hurghada, to Sharm el-Sheikh to spend a holidays. Why not we can tailor up a program for them to visit Luxor, to visit Aswan, to visit Cairo, to visit other cities such as Alexandria as well, and Minya and Sohag. We have plenty of monuments which is spread all over the country.
And they're not really popular with the Egyptians as well.
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But I mean here, whenever a guest is coming or a tourist is coming from abroad, and especially for those who are coming from very far countries, it's a very good opportunity to take them parallelly in the other cities all over Egypt. And for them it will be a good opportunity as well, because they will not afford having another flight to come to visit these places as well.
Yes. Doctor, this brings us to the very important point, because you mentioned that if someone goes to Sharm el-Sheikh, for example, or Hurghada, and the other one goes to Alexandria, they need to be going in the opposite directions. The one in Alexandria, he needs to be going to Sharm el-Sheikh. The one in Hurghada needs to be going to Cairo, Giza pyramids, Alexandria, all those places. And this brings us to the very important point, which is the infrastructure that we have had over the past 10 years, over the past 11 years. How do you see the importance of it, of the transportation, to be bringing someone from this part of Egypt to the other part of the country easily and faster?
This is absolutely right, and I am totally agreed about what you said.
Yes.
Normally, during the last few years, we have had a new era in the roads in all over Egypt. Roads have been, I mean here, it is completely different than before.
Yes, renovation. Thousands of kilometers of roads.
New kilometers that covers all over Egypt, and this will facilitate, of course, the transportation from one city to another.
Yes. Even for the Egyptians.
Even for Egyptians, you are absolutely right. And meanwhile, on the other hand, this would be very important as well for the transportation of the people who are working in the other I mean here the tourist destinations.
Yes.
Before it was a little bit difficult to move from Luxor to Cairo unless you are getting a train or a bus or at least a flight. But nowadays I think buses are very safe. Cars is very safe. If you will go by your car, it will be very safe. If you will go by flight, of course, it will be a little bit more expensive, but it is also available. And train, we have a variety of trains taking people from Cairo to the other side of the Upper Egypt or to the other side to Alexandria, I mean.
We have had enormous numbers of visitors and tourists for the past year in 2024. That is the biggest number, exceeding 15 million tourists for the first time, I think, ever, and for the first time, more definitely, ever since the 2010 marks that we have had.
2010 it was 14.6.
Yes, I think we exceeded that number.
Yes, we did.
So this is the biggest ever. How do you see those numbers that we have had in 2024, and do you think that we could be getting even more in 2025?
Absolutely, we will be getting more in 2025, but it will depend if we will get ourselves ready.
Yes.
I used to say that if you are not planning, then you are planning to fail. If we are planning well to receive as far as the vision of the state to 2028, we do need to have around 30 million tourists by the end of 2028. 30 million.
That's the double of the number that we have now.
Exactly. And it will need a lot of efforts, of course. It will need.
But do we have the capacity?
For the capacity, for the infrastructure.
Yes.
And meanwhile, for the human factors, we have to get people ready to work in these projects, and this will increase, of course, a lot of opportunities for people to find better opportunities and better places to work in these new properties that will take place, of course.
The human factors that you spoke of, Doctor, do you think that this is only restricted to the people working within the sector of tourism, or for the Egyptian population in general, 100 or 120 million people? They should be knowing how to be receiving tourists from different countries, how to be dealing with them in different languages, to be, I think, more friendly, if I can say the least.
Let me first thank you for your question, because it's very clever, as a matter of fact. And I used to say in many channels that the human factor is very important. The human factor in the hospitality and the tourism industry is considered as a backbone of the industry itself. And it is not only for the people who are working in the field.
Yes.
But I used to say that the tourism industry is an industry for the whole community. Everyone should be aware of the importance of the tourism. Everyone should be aware of the foreign currencies that can be generated from this very important and potential industry.
Just by being more hospitable and more friendly.
Raising up the awareness of the people is very important, and I think that this rule should be taken care of by the media. The media should interfere and should go through and should try as much as possible to enhance the awareness of the people about the tourism, how to deal with them, when to approach to a foreigner, and when just to say hello, and when just to smile in his face.
Yes. On the other hand, you've mentioned the media, but what about the role of the social media that we have seen, specifically ever since 2011 and 2013? We have seen tens, maybe hundreds, thousands of influencers and YouTubers coming to Egypt and documenting their experience here in the country. Overall, how would you assess the experiment of assessing Egypt as a touristic destination by the social media influencers and the YouTubers? And do you think that we can do it better in the future?
In my opinion, we still need a lot of efforts. As a matter of fact, most of the influencers we do have in Egypt, I mean here's the movie stars, the football players, the actors, the singers, we still need to get them involved in this.
Yes.
We need to create more festivals. We need to create more conferences where we can just explore these people to use their abilities through the social media to attract people from every country.
Do they have to get paid?
And especially the Arab region.
Do they have to get paid? Those footballers, someone like Mohamad Salah, like Omar Marmoush, playing in the best teams in the world, in England, do you think that they need more money just to be publicly speaking about Egypt, their hometown, their home country? In my opinion, if we will just address that this will be for the good of their nations, I think, in my opinion, this will be very much for them an honor. To represent their countries and to be a part of a campaign that attract tourists to their countries, and why not? Why not to be a win-win situation? How can they win? Those players, those singers, those influencers, how can they win? Through the social media and through the advertisements tools they are using, they will get more followers. They will have that they are representing the image of their country, and this is, of course, will be a plus and a benefit for them, an advantage, of course. And we're hearing that, I think, in mid-year of 2025, we will be seeing the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Is this correct? Yes, of course. So do you think that we need more awareness? We should be telling more people that this will be happening in June or July of 2025. Do we need that? If you allow me, let me stop a little bit here. Yes. Because this Grand Egyptian Museum, I used to call it the fourth pyramid. And I just put this nomination because, in my opinion, it will be considered as a fourth pyramid. It has the design of a pyramid too. Yes, a big pyramid. I mean, here's the importance of the and the value of the museum itself. Yes. And meanwhile, it will be a monumental hub. A monumental hub that will reinforce the value of the history of Egypt. And I'm quite sure that definitely we will attract maybe the double of the incoming tourist numbers through the Grand Egyptian Museum. And as I said before, by tailoring up programs for people who will be going to other destinations to come to visit the Grand Egyptian Museum, I'm quite sure that those people will not lose this opportunity, because for them it will be a once-in-a-life chance to see such a huge museum with thousands of artifacts and a full awareness about very great and celebrity pharaohs like Tutankhamun and Ramses and so on. And I want also to highlight the importance of the Grand Egyptian Museum, and especially because nowadays we do have also a very near airport. I mean, here's the Sphinx Airport, and so that people who are coming from any destinations or even from a local destination here, they can just use the Sphinx Airport so that they will be able to come and to visit easily the Grand Egyptian Museum. And of course, we advise anyone to be going to the Grand Egyptian Museum, even nowadays, before the official inauguration of it, because it is a fascinating place. I've been there, and you have to get a lot of pictures. Of course. A lot of pictures are there too. Of course. On the other hand, you mentioned the importance of awareness for the Egyptians, of the importance of tourism, this sector, how to be dealing with the tourists when they come here in the country. Do you think that this is the responsibility of media and social media, or also the responsibility of the Ministry of Education, for example, the Ministry of Higher Education, for the state to be adopting the strategy of having the child, how to deal with the tourists, even as a child, as a youth, a young man or a young woman in college, you need to be knowing how to be dealing with the tourists when they come to you?
As a matter of fact, as far as I know, that the Ministry of Education has adopted new curriculum for the youth to know about the importance of the tourism.
Yes.
But we still far of what we want to go. We still need to reinforce the importance of the tourism, and especially for our children in the schools and also in the universities.
Yes.
If you remember, when we were students, usually during the mid-year vacation, most of the schools and most of the faculties were organizing tours to Luxor and Aswan to highlight the importance of our history and how great our ancestors were. I mean here the pharaohs.
Yes.
Nowadays we cannot see a lot of trips going from schools or from faculties, unless of course the Faculty of Tourism and Hotel Management, because
yes.
they do have a guidance department, as you know.
They go to Dahab now. Instead of Luxor and Aswan. Yeah.
Yes, most of them prefer Dahab.
Yes.
Even my child, even my own children, they prefer to go to Dahab. You are absolutely right.
Yes.
But I mean here, it was a part of the regime that we are doing every year. Nowadays, we need to reconsider this idea, to highlight the importance of our history, to highlight the importance of the open museums we do have in Luxor and in Aswan, and which is a place that nobody can find it all over the world.
Yes.
You can never go to any country and you will find an open museum like the one we are having in Luxor or in Aswan.
On the other hand, the Egyptian cabinet earmarked about 50 billion Egyptian pounds through the Ministry of Finance for the sector of tourism in the country by the fiscal year 2026-2027. So how do you see through the upcoming 2 or 3 years the importance of having more hotel rooms? Is it just about that, those 50 billion Egyptian pounds? This is what we need, more hotel rooms, or we need this investment and this sum of money to be distributed over different places to be gaining more traction?
In my opinion, this should be parallel. I mean here we have, of course, to invest, because new rooms, it means more revenue.
Yes.
Every room we are having can generate a lot of revenue for us every year, and it will also be a good opportunity for people to work in the industry. I mean here hotels, I mean here bazaars, I mean here travel agencies, transportations, and everything. And this, of course, will be a very good opportunity for the people,
yes,
especially who would like to join the tourism industry and to work in the tourism industry, and not only to the people who want to work, because usually in the tourism industry we have direct labor and indirect labor. Whenever we are investing in new properties, it means that we will be hiring people for the building, for the constructions, for everything, and this, of course, will be a very good opportunity for the Egyptian people in the incoming period, inshallah.
And Doctor, you mentioned a key word here, which is investing, to be investing in tourism by the Egyptian state. On the other hand, do you think that investors from outside of Egypt could be attracted to be investing here in the country, in this field, in this sector, in the field of hotels, for example, the tourism sector in general? Do you think that this field could be attracting foreign direct investments in order to be creating more job opportunities from outside of Egypt?
Absolutely. Let me, if you allow me to ask you a question. If you are an investor,
yes,
what will be your main target? You want to gain more money.
Yes.
You want to have more money. And tourism industry is a very good opportunity for investment. Each penny you will pay, you will gain against a lot of hundreds of dollars on the long run. if we will put ourselves in any investor's shoes, and he will see that the volume of business in Egypt is getting higher and we are having more revenue, I think he will not hesitate to come to invest in our country. But meanwhile, we have to facilitate for him the steps for having the formalities and so on.
On the other hand, and finally, of course, we know that we get a lot of tourists from Germany, from Russia, and more specifically in the winter season. I think Egypt is the most popular destination for the Russians this season. But what about the Arab market? Do you think that we need more campaigns to be getting more Arab tourists into the country nowadays?
Let me start by saying that for Russian and for Germans, they are considering Egypt, and especially Hurghada, as if it is their backyard.
Yes.
It is
especially in the winter
backyard.
Yes,
yes, especially their winter backyard. But of course, we still can target the Arab markets. But in my opinion, it will be a very good idea to have a joint ideas between many sides. I mean here, if by any chance we can have a campaign for a tour and a cure. Tour, it means that he will come during the winter and to have his time within an Arab country, of course, which is very familiar for him and for his family. And meanwhile, he can just have a cure. A cure here, if he needs a dentist, if he needs someone like in any field of the
we have higher quality with a better offering.
And especially because nobody can deny that the prices of the doctors and especially the dentists in the Gulf area is very high. For them, if we can have a campaign that can merge between the tour and the cure, I think it would be a very good opportunity, and no one in the Arab countries will just will take a decision to come immediately.
And we can make them an offer that they cannot refuse. Dr. Mohamad Aziz, the Professor of Hotels and Tourism, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.